Welcome to part 4 of my Chrono Trigger new game playthrough. And this is going to be the future. A dark, gritty future. As we're about to see. This is the first place you have to go, Tranendome. And he's got a nice weapon for Lucia. And iron suits for everybody. Iron helms that we can't afford right now. I was smart enough to stock up on a few sundries. Equip everybody with the iron suits. And her new gun. So kind of wasted getting the maiden suit, but we might need it down the road. Make note of all these doors. They're just like those chests I talked about earlier. They're only openable by the pendant when it gets recharged later in the game. And then there's this. The equivalent of an inn. It's free. They're all free. But you get a very interesting comment afterwards. And sound effect. Every time you use it. Now, we still don't know where we're at. But we have to go through these ruins to find out. Try to avoid the rats that are running around. They'll steal your consumable items like potions. And I'm still trying to avoid fights, but this one's very rough to avoid the fights. And there's 2 boss sets in the future. And I believe by the end of this video, we'll be facing the first one. And we get a second silver sword, in case we missed the first one in the prison. As you'll see later on, as I progress through the future, I start attacking the green guy first. Because 1, he heals everybody, and 2, he's the weakest. But the big thing is he heals everybody. All that for a berserker ring I'll never equip. Because all that does is force one character into auto battle, I believe. Now the silver bow's handy for Meryl. And another fight. This ruin is very hard to get through without getting into a fight. And unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on how you look at it, whenever you pick up a new member, they are close to an equivalent level to you. Like with Frog in 600 AD, they sort of expected you to be at around level 5 when you met up with them. And as you can see, we finally got Meryl's first technique. Even if I'm not caring anymore about levels, I'm very careful around those volcano dudes. Now these guys love to group up, so they're very easy for technique points, especially since they come in batches of 3 to 5. And the biggest problem with these runes is it's very, very hard to figure out the spots to get through. Also, these jelly fellers or puddles or whatever they're called are only weak to techniques. If you use a normal attack, which I'm about to do, it's either a solid miss or 1 point. And that's a critical attack. And they also use slow. See, one hit with fire and it was done. And unfortunately, our bow girl does not have distance magic attack yet, technique attack, or whatever you want to call it yet. But she has heal. And her combo with Chrono makes a group heal. Try to avoid fighting them, they're rough. Luckily, only one popped up here. And unfortunately, I don't have a single targeting technique attack. The closest I have is fire at this moment. And it won't be until much later. Let's see. judging by the time, I'd say about an hour from now, that I'll have actual magic, which the first one you get is a single target attack. Alright, now this is where the bulk of the rest of this video will be. In Aristome. And the boss here can be a little rough at low levels. It usually takes a couple of tries to get the rhythm of taking out both bits and then attacking the main body. And as you find out from talking to everybody, the most ambitious people in the future are the people that are doing the selling, the merchants. Which here is a little girl who mentions the fella that you bought stuff from, which is the exact same stuff. I was able to get 2 iron helmets here, or not 1. I thought I had a hide cap left. Which helps with the upcoming fight. I really don't know why I buy the Panakas. I never use them in battle. Those I use. Now I did save. And surprisingly, I didn't trim it out. I went over my inventory, and I've got the best I have right now. Now we can't use that glowing dot until after this boss battle. The rat that's playing as a statue warned you about the upcoming boss. It's got a post-it note or something on it. And like I said, this boss has its rough moments. Because as long as both bits are active, it can attack with a 3-pronged attack. any attack that's not on a bit gets reflected back at you in this fight. And I'm thinking, because I caught that my recording, that I did not record the first time I fought this guy. And this is the second battle. He does a 3 count, and when he hits 0, the bits come back. He calls them pods. And you have to take them out when they come back. And that's his counter attack if the main body gets hit and both pods are there. And I believe all your team members that are not with you when they join up, their level is based off of Chrono's level. After you've met them and come back, we'll find out when we meet back up with Frog later on in the game. And there's the amplify counter. One of the few uses I've made of mid potions. Especially important. Is when it says the pods are reviving, don't attack until the pods are up and target them if you want to survive this battle. And oops. And we got him. Now let's move on with the story. And we find out all the stored food rotted because the refrigeration broke. And there's the Pearson's missing dad, who got trapped in there and died. But he found seeds for the future. Now, when you catch the rat, he gives you the code for the locked section. A, Y, and then B to activate the switch once you hear the sound. Then you go to this, A, Y, and B, and the path opens. Now, you can avoid all these fights. You just gotta time it properly. I went back to grab that item that I could have waited to grab on my way out the door. But this is how we find out what time zone we're in. And as you see, there is a path that allows you to avoid all of them. And also another one of those sealed doors, and the code is the same to open that path to it. And lo and behold, a satellite still works, and it shows the way out. And that'll be our next target in the next video, in the next boss battle. And now we find out what happened to the Earth to cause all of what the destruction we've seen. Lavos, the final boss of the game. In the SNES version. In the remakes, there's a hidden third ending which gives you another boss, from what I've read. I personally have not faced them myself, because you can only do it after you've played the game in New Game Plus. And I haven't done that in this version yet. I would also mention that after you save, return to the upstairs and save, I believe that's your first chance to see one of the hidden endings by returning back to the dome you came out of. And finding the portal to 1999. And you have to do it before you pick up Robo, which will be in the next video. Because once you have all four, that shuts off the chance for that ending. Now after we give the seed to these good folks, I'll be ending the video. be preparing for the next one. And now we got the jet bike key. And that's where we'll be starting the next adventure. Going to the jet bike. Thank you for watching. If you've enjoyed the content, like and subscribe. If you haven't already. And now everybody's fully equipped for the next adventure. And fully healed. So, the next adventure will be starting fresh. Thank you for watching.